Hey guys, welcome to Jess Checks Out, and I am Jess, and we're going to be talking about some books. Now, I know I owe you guys a few videos. There's About a Boy, as well as the March wrap-up to finish up what I read in March, because I have the mid. I just don't have time at the moment. My daughter will be out of Kita from Good Friday, which is this Friday, until the next Friday, so probably until like the Monday after next Friday. So needless to say, it's going to be, I think like the 28th. It gives a long time and not a lot of time to edit. So I'm going to try and get those edited this week. I don't have a lot of appointments because Easter in Germany is a big deal. It's like Christmas in that way. So I'm going to get as much done as I possibly can. We shall see, because there's also holidays throughout the next couple weeks after that. Like I said, this is kind of like the end of the holiday season here, so we won't have any big holidays again until October. Like October through Easter is our big holiday months. We don't have things like July 4th. We don't have things like Labor Day. Well, Labor Day here is May 1st, so that's also coming up. Okay, now let's get started on what I'm going to be talking about today. Today we're going to be doing a quick tag. It's the quarter year crisis tag. So I've seen it called a couple different places, and it was apparently created by Rosen's Reading on YouTube. And so it's just kind of like going through what you've read so far this year. So how many books have you read so far? In 2025, I have been reading like a madwoman, unexpectedly, and I have read quite a few books. I had put my goal at 75 books, and I've read 46 of them, and I have like 4 of them going on at the moment. So we're going to see how that goes. So, have you already found a book that you might think might be a 2025 favorite? So, I have read so many different books, I could not tell you offhand. But there are a few that I thought was really interesting. I reread About a Boy, and like I said, I know that video is coming out, but I really loved it. I was unexpectedly enjoying it. I also really loved When the Angels Left the Old Country, which I didn't expect to love, but if you like Good Omens, if you like that kind of style, you're going to love it. I also love The Grace of Wild Things. Oddly enough, 10 Days in a Madhouse. Like, there's a whole bunch that I've read that I think really encompasses what I enjoy, and I'm finding myself kind of enjoying the niche that I'm creating for myself as I get into my mid-40s. Any 1-star books or least favorite books of the year? So I have a few 1 stars, but not that many, honestly. I have way more 5 stars than 1 stars, which is surprising. I will say that I did not like The Last Bookstore on Earth, which is a dystopian YA, I guess, or maybe new A. It's like kind of that weird thing because she's like 18, but there's no school anymore, so I don't really know where to put her. It was not good, and I thought Our Wives Under the Sea made me want to cry because I was so angry at it. I will say that I really, really enjoyed All the Fighting Parts by Hannah, so it's like you get a balance of that when it comes to the YA stuff and the immature characters, but I was disappointed in 4 Ruined Realms, which makes me sad because I really loved 5 Broken Blades, and I was disappointed because I think that it's so full of romance that you need to find a balance, right? And so it just doesn't quite have that. So my most read genre so far, according to my Storygraph stats, I, like everyone else, are using that because it's much easier for me. I have to update my own stuff, but from this side, I would say my most read genre is fantasy, romance, like fantasy by far, romance slightly below that, and contemporary. I'll put my screenshot up so you can see. But I'm really leaning into fantasy because fantasy is my safe zone. It used to be romance, but there was something along the way that kind of stopped that. So a book that surprised you. I've read a lot of really interesting books this year, but I think the things that surprised me the most are the ones that like you don't see talked about much, right? It feels like, you've got like the hyped books that everyone talks about and stuff like that. I think that one of my most surprising ones that I liked was The Kingdom of Sweets, because I just was not expecting that one. It's normally not something I would read, but I really found the world building and the way it was written to be really well. It's one of the vlog ones. I've only got 2 in the vlog, so it's that one. But I was really unexpectedly surprised by that, and I thought that was really cool to see just how much I sometimes underestimate what I will and will not like. Let's see, and a book that has come out in 2025 that you haven't already read, dude, I've got so many books on my list, but one on the list is, I just bought it. It's India Holton's The Geographer's Map to Romance. If I ever compare anyone to India Holton, that's a huge thing, and sometimes I say her, but when I'm referencing her, I'm not referencing the author, I'm referencing the women characters she creates. So if I ever compare an author, like I did Stephanie Burgess for Wooing the Witch Queen, and phenomenal book book that one too. But if I ever compare one to her, the character her, then I must really love it. So I'm clarifying that because I know I use her a lot for that, but it's not about her, it's about the characters, and because we know that I love reading women. And then one goal you made that you're succeeding at. Reading. Again, I have a 75 reading goal for the year, and that's actually pretty standard. I also had to up my page count, and I had to up my listening hours. My listening hours, I think, was originally 400. It's now 700. And originally I had like 7,000 pages read, so I had to make it 12,000 just to kind of keep up with the pace of the year. So I'm doing really well on reading and keeping up with things. What I need to focus on is reading more of my bookshelves, because for that one, in the case of that one, I have read quite a few, but the sweetness of forgetting is getting forgotten in my pile, and I can't let it do that, because if I don't read it by the end of this quarter, by the end of June, then it has to be thrown out whether I want to read it or not. So I need to make it a priority. It's just kind of hard with all the library books that I have on hold. So, new to you bloggers, booktubers, bookstagrams for you to recommend. So, I will say that I really, really enjoy Tiny Teacups. There's always a really interesting vibe to it and new to me, so I have to point that out. I've mostly been visiting some of my favorites because I want to be comfortable. There are some. Pretty much everyone who I talked to on Book Sky, which is Blue Sky for books, like BookTube, whatever, they're all new to me this year because I really didn't play with my Blue Sky for the longest time, even though I had it for like a year. And I am finding it so much fun, like communicating and talking to people. And I know that everyone is anti-Facebook, but for me, Meta, because I'm not a fan of Meta either, but for me, Instagram and Threads are really important for me to feel comfortable because I don't really I have no book reading group, I have no book club, I have none of those kind of things locally. So communicating on those levels, I can, shift between parenting, book stuff, all that kind of stuff. So Blue Sky has got a really great setup where you can put in like the various emojis, you can do what you need to do, and I love it. So I think for this, I'm just going to say all of Book Sky. You can find your niche, find your people, but it's really fun to talk about books and to check the hashtag and see what everyone's talking about. And I'm not going to tag anybody because I don't tag. I just say, if you want to play, play. If you don't want to play, don't play. But I will say at the end of this video, I want you to give me your book that made you scratch your head and you're not sure if you like it or you love it. Okay? All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.